Well, how else do you want to do it, darling?
But like
Tie a lead tag around their neck.
the ants are chilling, and like you go scoop. Like, how do you get each of the one? You just pour the nail polish like this.
I think that would negatively affect them. So I would probably add a little bit of ether, drug them a little bit, chloroform them, take a paintbrush, dot of nail polish on each one's head. Okay, yes, Tony.
So ma'am, if you were to do a table, your first column would be sample.
Okay, we're not going to discuss the table.
Okay, so then the 10.5 ma'am would be your average of how many are counted.
In the second sample, how many second
Samples, okay.
Yeah.
So that would be your average of how many you counted. And then your mark would be your average between that little bit there. So what does that tell you? That average doesn't really tell you anything. It's how you apply to the formula then.
Yes.
But
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
what does the 10.5 show you?
Nothing.
Yeah, okay, cool.
I'm listening.
So for the table, you don't put sample, you put sample on the table.
You have to. Yeah.
But then you also include it for your average. No, you don't include sample one.
No, sample one isn't included in
So it's
there.
just there, but
Floating.
okay.
What's the matter, Vashani?
Going to be small.
Okay. Right. So this lesson only finishes at 1:45, hey?
No, half past.
Half past.
And what can I go to the bathroom?
Yeah, right. Because we're going through this now. Yes,
What
right.
happens if you're just at a pond, like you said, and you have a net, and you...
Okay, you're not keeping these. Don't write on them. Don't photograph them.
I wrote it down, I was like, let me just in case.
Yeah, there you go, mother.
Well, I think I did one too many
So
times.
you want to hidden, sample one, these, and then what is that right eye? Whole face twitch. Do this.
Okay. So guys, let's go through this quickly. Focus. Okay. So the first thing was the area of the reserve, and you measured the reserve in millimeters or centimeters, and the formula is length times breadth equals area. And so it would have been, I don't know, it was 16.5 times something times something. Okay. And the total area would have been in centimeters squared or in millimeters squared. It depends on how you did it initially. Okay. Then you have to do the table. And the marks going down next to the table were: did you put a complete heading? And I felt kind here, and even though many of you didn't put that there was an average included in the table, in your heading, I still gave you that mark. Okay. Then the next mark was for, sorry, I just need to quickly find, I remember. Is the independent variable, which was quadrat number in the first column. Did you do a total of 6? Because you did 1 and 5 repeats, so it was a total of 6 and then an average. Were the headings of the columns present and appropriate? Did you put units in the headings, not the body of the table, which is what you meant to do?
What would the units be?
No. Here it was just number of milliners. And then, did you have a nice neat border in pencil around the outside? Now, next time I'm warning you. I'm taking off marks every time you don't underline a scientific name. Okay, then you have to calculate the area of the quadrat, which was meant to have been 4 centimeters times 4 centimeters, so length times breadth, 16 centimeters squared. Then you have to calculate the total number of milliners. So that means that you did the population size equals average number of milliners per quadrat times habitat size divided by quadrat size. So for me, it was 3 times 471.6 centimeters squared divided by 16 centimeters squared. So it was 88.42 milliners. Okay, now your answering of questions is not ideal. So this question, the way that it is worded, you have to give both sides of the story. So I said, is it a direct or an indirect, and why? You have to say indirect because a sample is counted, a formula is applied, and the number is calculated as an estimate. Whereas in a direct technique, each individual would be counted. You have to give the other side of the story, what would happen, because of the way the question was worded. So, is this an elephant or is it a lion? You say it's an elephant because it has a trunk, and lions do not have trunks.
Can we run the queries afterwards?
No. Okay, no time. Okay, listen carefully to question number 6. Because most of you answered a different question. The question I gave you was, why is this method a suitable one to use to estimate the population of this type, population size of this type of population? And most of you answered, why would it be unsuitable to do a census? That's not what I asked you. I said, why is this method a suitable one? And so the answer is, the population of the species being counted was sedentary. Therefore, when a quadrat is thrown, the organisms will not move out of the quadrat. They can all be counted. The proportion is random throwing of quadrats to reduce bias.
No, we're not making right on them. Can we write?
I beg your pardon?
Can we write on them or not?
No, you're not going to keep it. So everybody put them in a little pile on that desk as you go out.
Why is there only 7 little things going down the table?
6.
6 things going down the table?
Because there were only 6 things that were marked.
Oh, because it says, yeah, the quadrant measures count all the intervals of particular type of several quadrants. So when you say several quadrants,
No.
oh, there's a little line for my second one.
Oh yeah, that's the end of the lesson.